What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and as I reported yesterday in Cyberpunk and some pretty disturbing news around how their production didn't start till 2016 and that the trailer we saw at E3 was entirely fake and a wide variety of other things, I've been inundated by Cyberpunk 2077 defenders, and I understand. Look, I'm playing on the PC too, and I think the game is quote-unquote fine, above average even. And if you spent your $60 and you got $60 in joy or entertainment value out of it, then you don't have anyone to answer to. And you shouldn't feel bad if, say, you're watching this particular video and maybe you like my other content and you're just sick of negative news around Cyberpunk. I want to be clear. I think Cyberpunk 2077 has a bright future. I think that by, the end of this year, it's going to be leagues better than what it is where it's at now. And where it's at now isn't the end of the world if you're on PC. And yes, I've also received lots of messages from angry console gamers that apparently have 200 hours into the game and never experienced a single bug, which I would argue is probably a lie. But, it's never a good thing to be simping for these companies that hard. I am years of track record defending CD Projekt Red, and should they need defense again, rightfully so, I'd do it again. But what we have now is a perfect example of why you don't pre-order games. This is 5 days ago, by the way. Cyberpunk 2077 GOG version, nearly 50% off. And then yesterday, not just the regular versions, but also the Steelbook editions of Cyberpunk disc versions for PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Series X, 50% off. Less than a month after the release, or about a month after the release, already half off. There's literally no reason to pre-order games. I mean, I did it. I did it for Cyberpunk because I thought, hey, I'm going to help out CD Projekt Red. They've been so good to me. Here's on The Verge. If you've already nabbed a next-gen PlayStation or Xbox or are willing to give developer CD Projekt the benefit of the doubt, they'll eventually work on your current-gen system. You can now pick up the standard disc editions of Cyberpunk 2077 for half price on Amazon and Best Buy. To be clear, that's the price for the PS4 and Xbox One versions of the game. Will work on PS5 and Xbox Series X far, far better than they do on current generation. There's no PS5 or Xbox Series X specific versions of the game so far, but the disc will include a free upgrade. Amazon has the PC version for $40 compared to its $60 price, which is about 40% off. Now, ultimately, again, I believe that CD Projekt will fix this game. And and I think that it's relatively low risk to pick up the game at 50% off. I mean, pick it up, throw it on your shelf, wait till March or April, then boot it up. I think by then you'll have a much better game. Obviously Sony still has removed Cyberpunk 2077 from the PlayStation Store, and it still isn't back. So if you want to hold off, I definitely would understand that. But ultimately, the next day, now they've upgraded up to $35, at these places, but it's still 42% off. Can't feel great. Can't feel great if you're somebody that pre-ordered the game and paid $60. Can't feel great if you're someone like me that pre-ordered the game and specifically pre-ordered it off GOG.com to make sure that CD Projekt Red got the most amount of my money. But ultimately, I know the game will get fixed. However, CD Projekt now facing a second class action lawsuit over the game. Firm says content, subject, and scope of the game, as the first suit reiterates it, quote, will undertake vigorous action to defend itself. CD Projekt has confirmed receipt of another class action lawsuit from a law firm representing its own investors. The Polish studio previously confirmed it was facing legal action from the New York-based Rosen law firm, which claims that the company misled investors over Cyberpunk 2077, in particular the state of the game in Xbox One and PS4. Now, a regulatory notice reveals a second lawsuit has been filed in the U.S. Central District of California. CD Projekt says, quote, content of the claim, including its subject and scope, is the same as the aforementioned class action. With another case, CD Projekt notes the complaint does not specify the quantity of damages sought, and it adds that it will undertake vigorous action to defend itself against any such claims. I actually wanted to look at this to see how their stock is doing. Yeah, it's down. You know, it did see a brief increase back in January, like January 13th, I think, when they had rebuilt some customer confidence. But even if you really just look at CDPR stock over the last 6 months, other than peaking the week of the game's release at $31, it's basically gone significantly down. In fact, it's lost 50% of its market share since December 4th. That is absolutely devastating. 50% of its entire value down the drain in just a month. That's what happens when you, you know, mess it up entirely. I mean, the lawsuits, the state of the console game, Sony removing it off the Play Store, the review bonanza where you only let people review the PC version, and then the console version came out too late for anybody to get a review out. All of these things made investors lose confidence. The studio is being investigated as well by Poland's Office of Competition and Consumer Protection. A Polish attorney previously said that he was considering a suit against CD Projekt on behalf of investors. This news follows the most recent apology over technical issues with the game, this time delivered via video form from co-founder Marcin Iwinski. Earlier this week, a report emerged claiming that members of the development team believe Cyberpunk 2077 was not ready for a 2020 release, something studio head Adam Badowski has since disputed. Now, ultimately, again, I think that CD Projekt is going to be fine. I think that Cyberpunk is going to be a great game one day. But when you look at, you know, just the news, it's all negative. Here, now, 27 minutes ago, now fighting a second class action lawsuit. Price of Cyberpunk nosedives to $30. This is 16 hours ago. Cyberpunk 2077 disaster just to worse. Developer hit with a second lawsuit. This is not great. And it's, again, somebody who paid full price for their game, you know, months before it came out. I got to admit, like, I understand the people, you know, on the side of, hey, I got my $60 of enjoyment of it, out of this game. Please stop making fun of it. I understand. I really do. But ultimately, a lot of people aren't feeling great about seeing the game they paid full price go to half price. This is why you don't pre-order games. This is why you don't think any company is just above it all. You could see what that something is a bit of mystery. However, neither the first nor the second lawsuits, this is referring to the second lawsuit, specified exactly what the investors are after, although it's reasonable to assume that it's some amount of money involved. Had Cyberpunk 2077 launched spectacularly, CD Projekt Red stock would have adjusted accordingly rather than tanking. Whether either case will go to trial is yet clear. I don't think they will, although the investors seem to want one. CD Projekt Red, for its part, doesn't seem to think the investors have the right of it. The company will undergo vigorous action to defend itself against any such claims. Well, that's just legal speak. That's exactly what I would expect them to say. For those who haven't followed, obviously the rocky launch of the game has been filled with bugs from the sublime to the ridiculous in every version, while the PC version of the game runs decently well if you have an extremely powerful hardware, and the PS5 and Series X versions are mixed bags. The PS4 and Xbox One versions are nearly unplayable, which CD Projekt downplayed rather than acknowledged. As for whether there's a good game underneath all the technical trouble, that's also subject for some debate. Some gamers love the rich imaginative world and interesting cast of characters. Others bemoan the relatively straightforward main quest and somewhat unambitious gunplay. In any case, you can still buy the game and decide for yourself, hey, for $30, I think now is as good a time as any, unless the game's $20 or $10 to pick it up. But if you do, I would definitely give it some time before firing it up. Let them get these last few patches in and try to see it in that manner. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.